This video is sponsored by Easy Edit and an audio visual kit. More on this later in the video. In this video, I'm gonna go over how to create this glowing eye strobe effect. So I got my clip on my timeline. I'm actually gonna split my clip right where the money falls off the screen. And then I'm gonna take this and hit Shift F. That's gonna create a new Fusion clip, and I'm gonna head into Fusion. Now in Fusion, I'm gonna hit Control and Space. I'm gonna look up Tracker and add it to my node flow. In the Inspector tab, I'm going to add a tracker by hitting this little add button. Then I'm going to go to tracker 1. I'm going to double click and I'm going to name it. I'm just put LI. That's for left eye. And then I'm going to double click tracker 2. And then I'm going to type in RI for right eye. This part is not necessary. It just helps with your organization. You can see here, it actually puts the name of the tracker on the tracker in the display viewer. I'm going to grab this little square here and then I'm going to move it to place it where I want to track. A good place to track is usually over the eye, right between the eye and the skin of your subject. So right here in this little corner. The contrast of the two leads to a good track. I'm actually bring this in a little bit. This is a search box. I don't want it to search too much, therefore I keep a good track. Then I'll do the same thing for the right eye. Now I forgot to mention, you also want to make sure you do this in the very first frame of your clip. Sorry about that. So if you're not in the first frame, go back to that first frame and then you can place these, or you can just track back from the point where you started it. Now I'm gonna go over here into the Inspector tab. I'm gonna change Adapt Move to Best Match. And then if you're at the beginning like I am, you can just hit track to end or track forward, and then it will track to the end of your clip. If you're in the middle, it'll track from wherever you are to the end, and then you can hit track reverse and then go back to the beginning. So since we're already in the first frame, it's gonna go over here and hit track forward. And it's gonna track both the trackers throughout the clip. Once done, you'll see render complete and click OK. Now within the Inspector tab of the tracker, I'm gonna go over here to Operations and change Operations from None to Match Move. Then from there, I'm gonna go down to the toolbar here and grab a background node. I'll then take the output of the background node and select the input, which is the foreground node for the tracker, which is the green input. Everything should go black because that's the color of my background. So I actually go into the Inspector tab. I'm going to drop down. I'm gonna change it to white, which is more or less like the default color. You can change it to any other color you want to as well. Now with that background node selected, I'm gonna select a polygon node. Everything should go away. You can hold Control or I think it's Command on Mac and scroll your mouse wheel to zoom in. And then we're gonna draw a mask around his eye. You click and drag to actually create an arch. And you want to try to create as less points as possible. Now my subject, his eye does not blink, but if you have your subject that where the eye does blink, you want to try to create less points as possible because then you can actually easily animate the mask around the fact that the subject is blinking. So I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to hold Control zoom out. In the Inspector tab with the polygon node, I'm going to turn up the soft edge just a little bit. Give it a little softness. That's actually a little too much. That's good enough right there. Back in my node flow, I'm going to move the polygon up and I'm going to select another polygon node for the second eye. And then I'm just going to draw another mask. If you find your mask has a sharp point like this and you want to round it out, you can just select it and then go up here to the top and the mask controls and smooth it out. Now it's a little bit too smooth. It's actually completely round. You can just bring in these little handles here. You can make any corrections. Now, once you have your glowing eyes, you have two different methods to actually create the little strobe-like effect. So I'm here Control and Space. I'm going to type in rays. Now you have rays and then you have light rays. I'm going to go over light rays first. I'm going to click on it and hit add. Then I'm going to hold shift and add it to my node flow underneath the background layer. Well, underneath my background node, rather. Now everything here will go black, but don't panic. Your subject and everything is still intact. So go into the Inspector tab and right here it says Alpha Limit Effects. Check it and then it will bring you back in your subject. Now you notice you already have the light rays kind of beaming off the eyes. You go here to position. You can actually change, hold Control and zoom back out. You actually see this little asterisk here. It acts as an on-screen control to actually be able to animate them if you wanted to. In the Inspector tab, activate this keyframe. So within the first frame of my clip, I can go into I can activate the keyframe. I can go to the last frame. Then I just have them animate up or however I want to animate them. And this here is actually creates a path for your animation. If you want to, you actually can move this out to further customize the path. So as it play back, you can see them kind of animate over time. And then of course in the spline editor, you can click on light rays, zoom to fit, select all, and I'm gonna hit S to smooth first, and then I'm gonna create an ease out curve. I'm gonna bring this to the end, and then I'm gonna move this curve down. We'll move it back up just a little bit. I'm gonna close down the spline editor. So then the animation of the eyes will start out really slow and then kind of shoot up towards the end. Now let's take this time to talk about today's sponsor, Easy Edit and their audio visual kit. Visualize your audio with over 350 compositions. These compositions can all be customized, allowing you to visualize your music, podcasts, and etc. in unique ways. The audio visual kit comes with presentations, podcast visualization, lyric videos, as well as typography, sound effects, 3D backgrounds, and so much more. Make any of these presets your own with drag and drop placeholders that you can customize in the Fusion page. For more information, click the link in the description down below. And back in the inspector tab where it says raise direction, you can change from location to at an angle. You can increase the angle for your raise. Now using this parameter here that says angle, you can change the direction of the raise. And once again, of course, you can keyframe them and animate it. And you can also change the length. So you pretty much can make almost like heat vision if you wanted to. You can actually change the softness. You can increase the brightness. You can change the color of the rays, which would look kind of weird because the eyes are red, which of course, if you go into the background node, you can change it to red. And if you want the red to match, you can actually leave the background node here. Go over here to this little pen, click on it. Go back to light rays. Now you have light rays and the background node in the inspector tab. You can grab this little ink dropper here and select the color from the background node or vice versa and help them match up. Now back up here where it says raise drop off, you hit the drop down menu. You have a number of different options. Here's the one you probably really want to use is keep the shape of the source, which is basically going to keep the shape of whatever your mask is. Now I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to remove the light rays. I'm going to hit control and space and bring up rays again. And I'm going to just add the default rays. Hold shift, add to the node flow. Now these here give you more of a strobe like effect. Inspector tab, you can actually just move this, you move it on the Y and X axis. You turn down the blend, basically softens the effect. You turn up the decay, it kind of erodes the effect a little bit to the point where it's almost not there. So you hold control and shift in and control and zoom in, I'm sorry. It more or less controls the length of the rays. The weight and basically increases the brightness more or less along with the exposure. And you can keyframe all of this and come up with any type of crazy unique effects. Now with ray selected, I'm gonna hit control and shift. I'm gonna look up flicker. Let me get the flicker add-on. And it's gonna create this little flicker effect. There's not much over there. So we're gonna go into the inspector tab. I'm gonna increase the range and the speed and basically just mess around with it to see what we get. That's pretty much good. Actually, I'm gonna add a secondary flicker. I'm gonna select my first one, hit control and C or command and C if you're on Mac. I'm gonna select the tracker 1 node and with the tracker 1 selected, hit control shift V and it's gonna create an instance node. And with the instance node, any alterations or changes you make to the parameters in the inspector tab on the first node would affect the second node. So you don't have to change this once. So I'm gonna cut down the range here. And it kind of makes it more or less seem like the flicker of the subject's eyes is affecting the whole environment. Actually, we go back into the ray node here, and actually I'm gonna turn down the exposure. I'm gonna set it back to default. Because one thing I did forget to add is the glow. So I'm gonna move this back up, or move this up rather. Select the rays, hit control space. Type in soft glow. I'm gonna turn down the threshold a little bit and turn down the gain a little bit. Turn the threshold back up just a little. The glow size you can kind of mess around with. You want to have it a pretty good size so the glow of the eyes kind of casts into the skin itself, giving more of a realistic appearance. Now back in the edit page, I don't want this to just pop up. I'm grabbing an adjustment clip from the effects panel, which I have it set in my favorites though. With the adjustment clip selected, I'm hit control D. I'm going to change it to 1 second at a time and hit change. And I'm going to place it over my 2 clips right in the middle. And with the adjustment clip selected, we're going to go back into Fusion. Now in Fusion, you're going to grab a brightness contrast node, add it to your node flow. You're going to go into the inspector tab. Inspector tab, you're going to activate the keyframe on the gain and lift. You're going to about midways of the clip, which is about frame 12. Turn them all the way up. And then you're going to go down to the last frame of your clip and set them back to default. And it's going to give you a quick little flicker. If that's a little too slow for you, you can just shorten the adjustment clip and then change it accordingly. That's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's a small gesture that goes a long way in supporting the channel. And until next time, y'all be easy.